When greatness calls, Alexander the Great. Best Stoic quotes from a military mastermind. The night was silent, eerily so. The moon hung heavy over the Macedonian hills, casting silver shadows on the camp below. Thousands of soldiers slept under the same stars, their dreams restless, their fate tied to one man. In the heart of the encampment, a young king sat alone by the fire, a map stretched before him, his armor glinting faintly in the glow. His name, Alexander. But long before the world would call him the Great, he was simply a man answering the call of destiny. Alexander once said, "There is nothing impossible to him who will try." Yet that night, even he felt the weight of impossibility pressing down on his shoulders. His army had marched across deserts, scaled impossible mountains, and crushed kingdoms that once seemed eternal. But now, at the edge of the known world, they were tired, hungry, homesick. And for the first time, they began to whisper, maybe greatness wasn't worth the price, the weight of command. Alexander stared at the map as if it held the answers to his turmoil. Every line, every border, every river represented battles fought, friends lost, and promises made. To others, it was a symbol of victory. To him, it was a reminder of what he had sacrificed to get there. He remembered the words of his tutor, Aristotle, who had once told him, "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom." But how could he truly know himself when the world demanded he become something more than human? A king. A conqueror. A legend. As dawn broke, his generals gathered in his tent. Their faces were etched with exhaustion. They had seen too much war, buried too many brothers. General Ptolemy spoke first. "The men are weary, my king. They need rest. They want to go home." Alexander looked at them, his voice calm yet filled with quiet fire. "And what will they return to? A peaceful life? A farm? Or stories of what could have been?" History remembers not the content but the courageous. When greatness calls, will you turn away because the path is difficult? The storm within. Despite his words, Alexander wrestled with his own doubts. He wasn't made of stone. Beneath the armor was a man who longed for peace, who missed the laughter of his youth, who sometimes wished he could be ordinary. But destiny doesn't choose the comfortable, it chooses the committed. That night, as rain poured down on the camp, he walked among his soldiers, cloaked in silence. They didn't notice their king passing by, their faith in him flickering like the dying fire. He overheard their murmurs, "He's gone too far. He's chasing shadows. We'll die before we see home again." Each word pierced him like an arrow. But instead of anger, he felt understanding. These were not cowards. They were men who had given everything. What they needed was not orders, but belief, the speech that changed everything. The next morning, Alexander called his army together. Thousands stood in the scorching sun, uncertain and weary. He stood before them, not as a god, not as a king, but as one of them. His voice thundered across the valley. "I did not lead you across the world for gold or glory. I led you to prove that the impossible is only a word spoken by those who fear it. You have stood where no man dared to stand, faced what others called death, and turned it into destiny. If you wish to return home, I will not stop you. But I will go on, even if I must go alone." Silence followed. For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then, one soldier dropped to his knee. Then another. And another. Until the entire army roared, "We march with you, Alexander." The final battle pushed forward into India, the land of mystery and might. The rains turned the fields to rivers, and enemies came in waves. But Alexander's resolve was iron. He led every charge, his spear flashing like lightning, his courage contagious. In one fierce battle, an arrow pierced his lung. As his men panicked, he pulled the arrow from his chest and raised it high, blood staining his armor. "You see, my brothers," he shouted, "even gods bleed, but they never fall." His soldiers fought like lions that day. And when victory came, it was not just over their enemies, but over fear itself, the Stoic within the conqueror. As the years passed, Alexander's empire stretched from Greece to Egypt, from Persia to India. Yet with every triumph, he grew quieter, more reflective. He began to understand the deeper truth of power, the Stoic wisdom that control over others means nothing without control over oneself. He once told his closest friend, "I have conquered the world, but I have not yet conquered myself." Those words carried more power than any sword. For true greatness, he realized, was not measured by territory or titles, but by temperance, wisdom, and the ability to face one's fears without surrendering one's soul. The legacy of greatness. When Alexander died at only 32, the world wept. But his legacy lived far beyond his empire. His name became a symbol, not of conquest, but of courage. He had shown that greatness does not call the prepared, it prepares the called. His life whispered a timeless message to all who dare to dream. Fortune favors the bold, but it only crowns those who refuse to bow to their own doubts. Final message. Centuries have passed, and his empires have crumbled into dust. But the fire that drove him still burns, in every dreamer, every fighter, every soul standing at the edge of their own impossible. So when fear tells you to stop, when exhaustion makes you question your purpose, remember the young king beneath the stars, the one who dared to say, when greatness calls, I will answer. Would you like me to create one SEO-optimized YouTube description, hashtags, and viral keywords for this story, and 2 AI image prompts for each paragraph, for your video visuals and thumbnail?